born in Dulwich Hill, but I lived in Croydon all my life until we got married and moved. But my married name is Jocelyn Rose Condor, and I was born in November 1925, so I know a bit about the area. My memories of the local area. As a child, I lived in Croydon. That was before World War II, and in the early 1930s, and we would walk to Burwood Station and then catch the tram to Cabarita Pool. It was a penny each way on the tram and a penny into the pool. We had to walk through a pool of presumably clean water, which wasn't very clean, and to wash our feet, and then we could go into the pool. But the pool was water from the Parramatta River, which was full of oil and dirt and the coal from the gas company. But we loved swimming there, and the sides were all cement, and it smelt. It really was, but it was lovely, and it was, everybody swam there. When we'd come home, we'd spend our penny, it was our return trip, and buy an ice cream at the shop if they had one, and we'd walk home across all the fields and the mangroves and across just Blair Park was being built then, and we used to walk home, and we walked to Croydon. But when we got home to our house, our mother wouldn't let us in. We had to stand outside, and she'd hose us down because we smelt so bad from the from the water, but it was salt water anyway. But the oil, you would be black from head to foot. Cabarita Park was very important to us because my father, his name was Wilfred Burgess, he was a bandsman, and he played for Burwood Community Band, and they used to go around to all the parks on Saturdays and Sunday afternoons, and the band would play. So when he'd play in the band, we'd all walk out from Croydon or get the bus, a tram if my mother had a bit of money, and we'd go out and we'd have a picnic in the park while they played all this music. And it wasn't only Cabarita Park, it was all the parks around Ashfield, Yeo and Ashfield Park and all Burwood Park. They'd go around and they'd play. So it was quite something. We knew all the parks all the way around in our area to walk. We were little park kids. When I after the war was over, I married and I moved to Ashfield. So, and it was interesting. My husband worked after the Second World War at the gas company at Mortlake, and he worked there for 40 years. And he worked on where he started off where they used to have coke and everything, when the ships had come in with the coal and they'd be unloaded, and then they'd have to be loaded, all the coal, and he started off loading them on the ships and the boats and things, and then he worked his way up into the house of the big tanks that stored the gas. But they used to have to climb up to the top and with their big rods, and they used to have to poke the sides inside hot coals down, and that would stick to the to the inside of the retort house, and then when he'd come down, but they used to be so sick and it was so hot that the gas company gave the men milk and salt tablets because they used to perspire so much. And when he'd come home, they'd work 3 shifts, morning, afternoon and night, and weekends, and they'd have 1 weekend off a month. And they used to come home, and when he'd leave the gas company on night shift, he'd say the hotel over opposite was open because people used to want to go and have a beer after they'd worked all night. But he didn't, because he rode a push bike to Ashfield, so he didn't want to fall off it. But he used to ride home across all the golf links and things and come home. And the clothes he used to bring home were so dirty, the flannels, that they used to be stiff and black, and you had to... And his socks used to stand up practically straight, and you'd have to soak them all and wash them for about 3. And he had a new set for every night. He'd have to have a new set of flannels. And he said that in their breaks, that some of the men used to go fishing, and he said he could never fish there because the fish used to come out of the Parramatta River, and he said it was, black. And he told my daughter about when they used to dip the coals out and anything they couldn't fit to go back to Newcastle on the coke, they used to tip into the Parramatta River, and all the scum and everything would be on the river, and he'd say they'd use soap suds over it to dissolve it and it'd sink to the bottom. So that was how all the stuff got to the bottom of the Parramatta River.